Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this September 9th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. We're glad that you are here with us this morning. You can find all of our content at EOA.network. EOA.network, you type that in the browser bar, that will take you to a link tree where you'll be able to find the location of our YouTube channel, our Facebook, our website, and our Roku channel. All of that stuff is simultaneously live on all of those locations. This program included right now is on all those places. And then it ends up archived on all of those places also. And additionally, onto podcast sites like, my mind has gone blank, Spotify.
Yeah.
Not Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah, Spotify.
Yeah, sure. So here in just a little bit, we're going to have John O'Brien, who is the new city manager of Grande. He's going to be with us and talk to us about his experiences in just jumping into the job. So, how are you, man?
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Second Monday.
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't even a Sunday this week.
Yeah.
But Benny and I I went into a rabbit hole yesterday because I saw this video on TikTok of this guy in Portland, right? He was on the street, and there was like 3 other people zombied out, doing the fentanyl zombie, and this guy was in a wheelchair, and the paramedics came up to him, and his foot was just, it was the size of a football. It was disgusting. It wasn't in a shoe. It was all, wet, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the paramedic's like, we'll take you to any hospital in the whole country. And he's like, no, I'm not getting in. And the paramedic goes, well, you got your shoe is full of water. And he pulls his foot out, and it's just dripping away. He goes, that's not water, that's pus.
Yeah.
And it come to find out, it's from trink dope, which is like a combination of tranquilizers and fentanyl, what a lot of people are doing right now.
Uh-huh.
And it causes like lesions all over your skin. It's, oh my gosh, man.
Yeah. Well, and you and I were talking about
it's so bad.
That kind of infection becomes septic and people
it'll
die.
kill you. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Trink dope is no joke.
Ugh.
It's bad. It's gnarly.
Well, what else is good, man? Thank you for that picture.
Well, yeah, that's what I spent about a half an hour looking at that, like reading about trink dope and about how it's very prevalent in the United States right now. Very prevalent.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
It is. Sucks. Well, thank God we don't have those issues here.
Like here?
Yeah, like here in Grande.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Well,
not like that, but
right,
we do.
Right.
We definitely have trink dope in Grande.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it myself, but I know for a fact that we've...
Trink dope.
Yeah.
Is it like a combination of...
Yeah, it's fentanyl and tranquilizer.
Oh, and it gives you a particular high?
Yeah, they're just cutting fentanyl with tranquilizer, and it makes the fentanyl go further, but it gives you some sort of, and I know for a fact that it's been found here in Grande because I've heard Cody talking about it before.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Well, hey, let's change topics.
Yeah, let's go on. Let's do some sports. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit. Check out what people are saying about Traxxas RC cars and Hobby Habit. Joel McFarland said, I picked up the truck from you on Friday. It's an awesome RC. My kids and I are having a blast with it. Thanks for being my go-to local RC solution. Hobby Habit in Grande is a Traxxas exclusive RC car dealer and can even fix the cars if needed. Hobby Habit, just for the fun of it. It was not a good weekend for these guys, for the Tigers. Man, on Friday, LHS football lost to Vail 27-14, I believe was the final score. Boys soccer lost to Estacada 5-1, and girls soccer lost their first game of the season 2-0 to Henley on the road. The girls closed out the weekend with a 4-0 loss to Klamath Union on Saturday. So they've lost more games already this year than last year, and I feel like this team is as good or better than last year's team that got second place in state. So maybe it's just a little early season hiccup for them, I hope, and hopefully they can get back on track tonight versus Fruitland at EOU, with the boys taking on Nissa right afterwards. And so I'm trying to figure out how that's going to play out. The girls start at 4, the boys start at 5. There's no way both of those games can start on time on EOU's field. So maybe one of them is being played at the middle school. I don't know, because they don't signify, what field it's being played on. It's just assumed that all the high school soccer games are at EOU. But if a game starts at 4, the next game can't start at 5. So I don't know what the plan is on that. LHS volleyball is also in action tonight as they host the Dowels at 6:30 up at the LHS gym. Other football scores from the GOL this last Friday and around the Valley. Baker lost to Scappoose 48-0. Pendleton lost to East Valley 46-3. So another tough week for the GOL. Imbler beat Prairie City 32-26. Elgin beat Perrydale 46-18. And Union beat Cove 72-8. And that's why watching 8-man football is really hard for me, because 72 points in a game, that's crazy. We'll be live streaming the LHS home game this Friday on the EOA Live Network as Pendleton goes to Redmond and Baker plays a neutral site game in Sisters versus Marshfield. We're still looking for sponsors for football, so just message us right here or email office@eolive.tv. EOU football had a bye week, and they'll host Whitman this Saturday at 1 p.m., and it's family day, so bring your kids out. They get in for free, and they also get a ticket for a free popcorn, and you'll get to see a non-league EOU football game. I think everybody should be close to healthy after the bye week, which is crazy. I was talking with Solo Taylor, who's the defensive coordinator, and he said that it's crazy to think, that us having our bye week in week 2 benefited us because we were so banged up. Usually teams want their bye week later on in the season because you're more beat up later on in the season, but we were already beat up. So, yeah, EOU football, Saturday, 1 o'clock, Whitman. The number 1 team in the nation, EOU volleyball, was in action for their home and CCC opener this weekend. On Friday night, they swept Evergreen 3-0 in an absolute trouncing. I mean, it wasn't even a fun game to watch. And then Saturday, Northwest came to town after sweeping College of Idaho, who was ranked number 10 in the country on Friday night, and EOU swept them as well. I mean, this EOU volleyball team is really good. They're number 1 in the country for a reason, and they're going to make a run at a national title. They make the long haul to Ashland and Klamath Falls this weekend to take on number 19 Southern and receiving votes Owls of OIT. That's going to be this is a proving weekend for the Mountie volleyball team. If they can go down there and win both of those games, the sky's the limit. EOU men's soccer is on their California trip right now. They beat number 25 Westcliff on Sunday 2-1 and tied Masters University yesterday 2-2. They play on Wednesday at 7 p.m. in Fullerton versus Hope International. EOU women's soccer battled Whitman to a tie on Sunday afternoon up at Community Stadium. This game was a 5.5 hour, 6 hour game because of lightning. The game was delayed twice, and all the players have to go inside, right? And then they kick the fans out of the stadium. So you either have to go sit in your car, or if you know people, you can go in the snack bar. The track and field team was in the snack bar. But they showed a lot of resilience in this game. They ended up tying it 2-2. EOU's Jocelyn Sizemore scored 2 goals last week from her defender position and was named the CCC Defender of the Week for her efforts. She had a heck of a game against Whitman, and to score goals from a defender position, that just shows the versatility of this EOU women's soccer team. I have a ton of interviews for fall sports in the can, so pay attention over the next couple of weeks as those will be dropping. AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit, just for the fun of it.
All right. Good stuff, man.
Whew.
Yeah.
Long-winded.
There's a lot there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, let's take a look outside. It's beautiful, and man, it sure feels like fall, doesn't it? And just like the switch got flipped. I don't know what the deal is, but the trees aren't turning yet, so that's good. Let's take.
It don't feel like fall to me yet.
Yeah, well, it does me.
Yeah,
Feels like it's breaking on. Let's look at that graphic, Bennett. All right, so because it's going to be in the 70s, warms up a little bit over the weekend. But let's see, is there rain? I can't hardly see it.
Yeah, thunderstorms tomorrow or Thursday, thunderstorms, and then Sunday showers.
Okay.
So.
Yep.
Just it won't feel like fall to me until the leaves start changing color at least.
Yeah.
They haven't even started changing color yet, let alone falling.
No. I was taking some video yesterday out at the Amazon plant that they haven't admitted that is there yet. It's so funny. So I've been doing drone construction video of a building that's going up out there. And anyhow, the thing I noticed is that they're planting trees, and a lot of those trees, the leaves are changing already. And I don't know if they've got them from someplace.
Maybe they're confused.
Yeah.
It's like if you take a animal and put it in a different spot, it does weird things.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a tree, probably.
Yeah, no, they're definitely, so maybe it came from a colder climate or something, or maybe it's confused. All right. Well, hey, I'm glad that you're here with us this morning. We're going to take a little break. During the break, we're going to, recently, Kyle and Bennett went to celebrate Grande, which was in Riverside Park, last Thursday, right, I think. And anyhow, we'll take a look at that video, and when we come back, John O'Brien will be with us.
What year did it start?
1990 something.
94? 95?
I was the mayor. Yeah, so the mid-90s. We just decided people were grousing about things and this and that, and we said, you know what? We should appreciate this wonderful community we have, and we need to celebrate. So off we went with Celebrate the Grande.
And it was just a group of you?
It was just me and Scott Franks thought about it, and our idea was to have volunteers from each of the city departments, police and fire, so citizens could get to know their people, the people that help them every day. Yeah. So it just kind of grew up, and then we decided to involve the community agencies to, again, educate the community on what is available. So it just grew and grew and grew. And it had to be free. Everything had to be free. It used to be downtown, and people would drive by and see the excitement, something's happening at Max Square, and they would stop. So out here they have more playgrounds and picnic benches and things like that. So, but no, it's just a feel-good activity for our community to end the summer on a high note.
I have been involved cooking for the last 6 years. It's a volunteer position that fire chiefs over the years, since Bruce Weimer, we've just volunteered our time to come out and cook. Typically the police chief is here to help, but he actually has to go, and he's at a graduation in Salem.
When this was downtown, the only thing that was different, with it being downtown on Adams, I had this vision of someone that takes the first Grande exit and just goes, what? The street is closed? Here's a hot dog?
Yeah.
Like, what a town. Yeah. We spent so much time setting up downtown, and it was still hot, and there still wasn't a lot of places for people to gather and talk. Here, we're covered in case of rain. We've got a full kitchen. It's easier to be sanitary. We got a brand new playground. There's all this grass, and it's temperature-wise, it's a lot cooler here. So, because you're not just on paint, you're not on asphalt.
Yeah, you're not just getting hammered.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. Since the city has this, they're a great partner. They've been partners since the very beginning, and you got stuff for kids to do. The last few years we've been down here. There's lots of people that just sit and do what we used to do, and they talk.
Oh, weird.
They just sit at the table, and people that don't see each other.
People still know how to do that?
Yeah, they talk like in person with their lips and stuff.
Yeah,
no screens involved.
All right. We're back with John O'Brien, new city manager of Grande. How are you, man?
Good, good. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, you bet. We're glad that you're here with us. So, yeah, man, you've been on the job now how long?
This is the beginning of the 4th week.
Okay. So like you've jumped into the deep end of the pool.
That was the intent anyway.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm definitely in the deep end.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. Well, welcome to Grande. Glad that you're here.
Thank you.
And Robert's been in that position a long time. How long?
17 years?
17 years, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. When so our business has been in business 15 years now, and right away we started one of the very first regular gigs that I had when we started was streaming the Grande City Council meetings.
Okay.
And yeah, things were super tippy. I mean, they have been tippy along the way several times during the last 15 years. But at the point where we had a regular gig that happened once a month, then that was the point where it's like, okay, so I guess the basic utilities can be at least covered, and but yeah, and Robert was only a couple of years into the job, I guess, by that time. So yeah, well, good. I'm glad that you're here. So
yeah, I'm happy to be here. The value that Robert brought to the team is definitely very evident.
yeah,
I feel very fortunate that he built such a good team by the time I came into the picture, because they've made it incredibly easy.
Yeah.
Both all of the employees of the city, for that matter, but certainly the senior leadership has made it very pleasant.
yeah, good. So, and for people that might not understand the structure of the city council hires a city manager,
Yes.
and that's you. And then your responsibility is to hire the managers of all of those different areas. Yes. So, chief of police, fire department, all of those, parks department, all of those different folks are accountable directly to you.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And so then, and all of their budgets too. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So, which is vast and huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, let's talk about you. I mean, tell us about you and kind of give me an idea of, tell me your story, if you would. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So I'm originally born in Alaska, born in Anchorage, grew up in Ketchikan, Alaska, lived there till I was 20 years old. In fact, it was on my birth date that I joined the Army, went into service, initially enlisted as a OH-58 Scout helicopter repairman. Eventually did some what they called on-the-job training time with the Army Criminal Investigation Division. That didn't end up turning into a career, so at my 6-year mark, I decided it was time to get out and get into civilian law enforcement. By that point in time, so when I initially enlisted, I trained in Alabama, and then my first duty station was over in Germany, and I spent 3 years there. After that first 3 years, ended up in Colorado, where I finished out my time in the military. Got out, got into law enforcement, worked with the sheriff's office in El Paso County for Colorado. It's in the Colorado Springs area, and then ultimately with the Castle Rock Police Department in Colorado, and then finally with the Colorado Springs Police Department, where I worked my way up to be a detective. Left there from being a sex crimes detective when my time that I spent in Germany as a soldier, I had met a German, beautiful, wonderful German national woman that I was able to marry and have a wonderful daughter with. And we unfortunately reached a point in time where we needed to go back to Germany because of familial reasons. Went back to Germany, and that's what caused me to leave law enforcement, which then brought me into what the Army calls, as a civilian, calls Army Installation Management Command. So the Army can't do anything the way the rest of the world does it. It has to change something from, if we say that the civilian terminology is happy, the Army has to change it to glad. And so instead of calling it city management, they call it installation management. So I didn't even know it at the time, but I went to work for installation management.
And you were a civilian at that point?
And I was a civilian at
Yeah,
that point,
okay.
yep. And this was back in 2009.
Okay.
Worked my way up through installation management command until I became what they call a deputy to the garrison commander, which is a city management type position, a city manager type position. Worked all around in I think a couple different stints here in Washington. Ultimately went to Germany two times as a civilian, and then also New Jersey, Picatinny Arsenal, New Jersey. All of that brought me to the opportunity to be the Chief of Staff for the Walla Walla District Army Corps of Engineers in, obviously, Walla Walla. And I went there just a little over 2 years ago. In the midst of all of that, I should say, unfortunately, I did end up having to get a divorce. Once my wife went over to Germany, or once I went back to Germany, there was no getting her out of there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then fast forward, that took place back in 2015. Fast forward in time, when I came to Walla Walla, I got to meet my soulmate and met my wife, Laura Davidson, who has a lot of family in the Grande area. The 2 years that I was working at the Walla Walla district, of course, in this last year, the administration changes occurred, and one of the things that happened in that capacity was the opportunity for people like myself with as much time as I had, the ability to look at early retirement. And so I wanted to look at things that were in my skill set and that I felt like I had a love or passion for. Talked it over with my wife, we prayed about it, and came to the conclusion that it was time for me to at least look at the possibilities. Well, as soon as that started, the very first job that popped up when we started looking was the Grande city manager job. Well, with my wife's ties to the community, it seemed like a pretty obvious choice to put my name in the hat. I'll be honest in saying that being that it was the first one that I was putting in for, I did not honestly think that it was going to pan out, but it was certainly worth. Yeah. I felt led to make sure that I at least put my best foot forward on it. Certainly ended up interviewing with several other positions that were looked like they were trending towards an opportunity, but Grande was the first to make the offer, and with the family connection, there was no way to not say yes. So,
wow.
So that brought us here. That's the short thing. I will say I probably should have led with this. Between her and I have two biological children myself. She brought 3 children to our relationship as well. So together we have 5. One's married, a total of 6. And but all of them are adult, grown, living. My daughter lives in Germany, son lives in Colorado, and 3 boys live in Walla Walla.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, thank you. That's cool. Yeah. So I guess the first question, what differences do you see between the type of management with the Army that you've done and being a city manager? They're similar, but what's different that you see that's clear?
I guess the primary difference is, that happy to glad analogy. It's just the ability for me to be able to translate that happy or the glad that I've known to the happy that Grande is.
Yeah.
So translating it, but the fortunate part is the construct of the organization as a whole is literally identical. It's the same, with the exception of the way you would look at the city council, where here in the area, obviously we elect our city council and they come to their positions based off of the interests and support of the community. In the Army, the primary difference is, of course, what you would refer to as the city council is actually comprised of senior leaders, tactical leaders, and community leaders in the area that comprise that council-like environment. So they don't come by election; they come by this is where you're assigned.
Right. Well, and I guess that would be the big thing that I would see is, and Kyle and I talk about this quite a bit, is that it's it's a lot more complex to manage a system that has paid staff and volunteers rather than just paid staff. You know, paid staff have an accountability. You know, I mean, they're just obvious. Volunteers, they're a whole different animal. You know, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? How do you see that?
Well, just so that I'm understanding your question a little bit better, when you're referring to volunteers and what context
so like
are
for
you-
instance, the city volunteers, for instance, the city council and the
Gotcha.
city council is not volunteers, but they don't. I mean, they get paid a stipend. It's like $75 a month or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
not much.
they're but you know they're volunteering probably more than. I mean, nobody would do that if they didn't want to volunteer. Yeah, and so then motivating people that are not motivated by money it's a whole different animal.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now I'm understanding.
Yeah.
So 100%, I would agree that it's easier to see the motivations of our city council members versus appointed people within the military.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that ultimately is that Army officers are meant to be successful in their careers, and if they aren't successful, they don't get promoted.
Right.
And so there could be, politics is politics, right? And so there could be an argument. I haven't been here in this system long enough to have an opinion on it, probably,
Yeah, right.
An educated opinion. But what I can say is that in order to get ahead in the military, you don't get there by having a series of failures.
Yeah.
Don't misunderstand me. The Army is definitely grace-filled in that they understand that there are things beyond people's control. But at the end of the day, they're expected to succeed.
Right.
So the complications of trying to have a successful career in the Army is definitely complicated. That being said, the one thing that I think I love about the differences between them, at least at first contact, is kind of what you said, is they're not doing it because they're getting paid.
Right.
They're doing it because they actually care about their communities. And having met with most of the, individually, with most of the current council members, the one overarching theme within each of those conversations are things about this community that they care about that led them to decide to become a part of the council.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that we're always hopeful for is that will inspire more people within the community to become involved, to become a part of the solutions of the direction in which we want the city to go.
Yeah.
And it's not, even though the council to a degree, well, not to a degree, they're responsible to help steer the direction of where the city is going. They give the azimuth or the direction that we want to go, and then it's of course my responsibility to make sure that we're getting there.
Yeah.
And so the more that we get the city involved, a lot of community members are, at best, are pretty good about wanting to offer their opinion on what should be done, but not many, percentage-wise, ratio-wise, don't actually play an active role in helping to bring that to fruition. Mm-hmm. And so I think one of the things we have to try and do is find that, without causing pain in people's lives, find the thing that's going to inspire and motivate people to become an active participant in helping us to get where we decide that it is that we want to go. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're just sitting on the outside, on the sidelines, offering opinions on something that you might get a little bit of a glimpse into what some of the reality is, but if you don't fully understand the reality, well, then it's easy to have a critical opinion when most of the time the thing that gets your attention isn't because of something great that happened. It's usually because of something that was displeasing.
Yeah.
And so and it's never ever as simple as the displeasing first perception that somebody gains. So.
Yep.
Having the volunteers that are willing to get involved and become knowledgeable and help make sure is definitely the difference between somebody who's doing it because they've been given the job to do it versus somebody that's been elected because it's what they're passionate about.
Yeah. Well, and right, and there's a broad spectrum. I mean, part of management is figuring out what motivates people, what they're motivated by, and you know, depending on, and you know, turning them loose, letting them do something better at what they're doing than what you could ever be, than you could ever do, you know. And the city, you're certainly in that position, you know. I mean, you know, every one of those departments, you hope that those people are better at managing. They're dreaming. That's the thing. They're dreaming for each of their departments, you know, and they're looking for what's the best. You know, Stu Spence is a perfect example. We're a big supporter of Stu. I've known Stu for many years. You know, all he does is imagine how he can make parks and recreation better than what they are.
Yes.
You know, I mean, he's managing them. He's figuring out how to keep them up, but you know, he is always out there on what can we do that's better. What's the next step? What's the, you know, and you need those people in each of those areas doing that same thing.
100% agree.
Yeah.
And he is a great Parks and Recs director.
Yeah,
by the way.
he is. He is. So I don't know tell me about your experience. I mean, there was them finding a city manager was a little bit of a process, you know, and so I mean, you made the cut. That's a big thing, you know.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at the qualifications of the people that I was competing against.
Yeah.
I find it to be an incredibly huge compliment that, and I feel humble and blessed that I was the choice of the council. So,
yeah. How did you feel when you found out and stuff? I mean,
I was ecstatic.
Yeah.
What I can say is we were. I'd come up for the final interview, and we'd had a family trip planned. We do a family reunion every year in Rockaway Beach, and so I ended up being delayed to arrive at that location so that I could be here for that final interview. As I was driving to go and meet with the rest of the family, I got the initial call that basically indicated that it had gone favorably, and that they would be hearing from me further the next day. So then I was fortunate enough to be around my entire family, both on my wife's side and many of the family on my side when we got the official news that the offer was extended. So it was a pretty beautiful, amazing, humbling experience, exciting. You know, I think everybody probably goes through, at least I'd like to think everybody goes through a level of, is this really happening? A little bit of imposter syndrome, maybe.
Yeah.
But one way or another, I was excited and happy about what it is, and immediately started thinking, how am I going to bring value to, aside from what I needed to do to get through the interview process, I wanted to make sure that I was bringing value to the city, to the people of La Grande, and so I probably spent a lot of days trying to research and understand more intimately what might be anyway the needs of the community. What I can say is it's a hard pulse to get because there's definitely a difference in opinions of the desire to keep it nice like it is and just maintain it well versus the idea of also growing it. And so trying to figure out what, you know, we're going to end up probably somewhere in the vicinity of whatever 51% of the general consensus is the direction we're going to go. But I'm hoping that through our efforts and inspired leadership that we'll be able to get a significantly, even if they don't necessarily want it, we can show them why whatever direction we're going is still good for La Grande.
Yeah. Well, and you kind of find that with age, those desires change.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you have a young family, the things that are important to you are activities for young, you know, parks and recreation and athletics and all of those things are important to you, you know. And then as your kids grow and leave, then as a citizen, other things become important to you, you know. And it's a lot harder as you're older, as I'm realizing. It's a lot harder to, I mean, whether we like it or not, the focus of any organization has to be on the next generation. Who's coming, who's going to take my place, and so on and so forth. And so then as I become older, my preferences are not as important, just frankly. They're not as important as the next generations and the one after that, you know. And so, because if we don't continue to build for them, whatever that might be, they're not going to come, they're not going to stay, and, you know, our population will go down. I mean, our population stayed the same. You've tracked that for
since like 1950.
Yeah.
It's been about the same.
Yeah. And so, you know, I mean, the features of that population have changed and so on and so forth. But, you know, for the most part, we've maintained, which is good and bad.
Yeah.
I'm not anti it myself.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. But
Yeah.
You know, with growth comes bigger problems, right? And so you started off the show talking about some of the problems that you noted going on over in Portland. You know, we want to be able to help people that have those kinds of problems, but we also, in order to help, we need the resources to be able to help people like that. And so, yeah, we just got to know what we're signing up for, and as best as possible, and then be prepared to react to contact and do the best that we can to be the caring community that I believe La Grande already is. We just have to make sure that the resources and the way that we're organized matches the need and the growth, whatever that might be, of the community.
Well, and I think that, I mean, it's taken me a long time to get onto economic development and understand what makes a community grow and what makes them healthy. And so then my knowledge has increased along with my experience. And it's, you know, when I look at our community will grow. Yes, we want to be able to offer services for people that are in need. But on the same hand, I mean, so there was a big housing project that was built not too long ago, which was really needed, you know, and it's mostly low income housing, or a half of that, a portion of that is low income housing. Mm-hmm. Well, that will draw and has drawn people out of the area because they're looking for a place to live. Mm-hmm. On the same hand, there is no, I mean, La Grande is so prime for remote workers, people who are making, you know, $250,000 a year. I mean, they can afford to buy a house, they can afford to build a house, they want to live in a house, they want to live somewhere where there is great access to outdoor living. You know, we're not very good at accommodating those people. And so it's both. It's not just meeting the needs of people that have needs, but it's also building a community that is going to draw, because the fact is that it's the people that, it's those jobs, those people that have a wage of $250,000 a year, those are the people that are going to build the city of La Grande and the community of Eastern Oregon for the future. They're the ones that are going to pay for the schools and pay for the roads and pay for, you know, and so it's both. And a lot of people don't understand that. In fact, there'll be some people that'll be like, I mean, just me saying that would piss them off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, and I'm with you on that. And I probably take a little risk in even saying some of what I feel like I'm about to say. I think there's some investment in ourselves if we want to bring those people here. There's more that we need to do to make our community be more attractive.
And
in order to bring. And, yep, exactly. And so, having gone through what I would call extensive pain of my own, to come and find a place for me to live. It's a requirement for me to live in the city limits for my position. So I didn't have the luxury, if you want to call it that, to be able to look outside of the confines of the city to be able to find the home that I felt most met my family's wants, desires, or needs. And so my wife is still currently working in Walla Walla, and we weren't going to look towards a plan to transition her here until we had something firmly established. And I love my wife. I want to keep my wife, and so I absolutely want to make sure she's never put this tax on me, but I want to make sure that when she's ready to make that leap, that she's coming to a place that she feels happy to be living in, not a place that we just accepted in order to get in place. And so what I'd say is the inventory is definitely not what we would probably need it if we're trying to be appetizing. If we're saying, hey, come in your masses to La Grande, and the inventory is what it is right now, they're going to come here and change their mind.
Right.
And
people have done that.
Yep. And so to a degree, we have to, and it's a hard balance to find, right? We have to build the inventory at the risk of how long is it going to take for us to be able to fill it.
Yeah.
I think simultaneously we need to look at how do we improve the inventory that we currently have. And so there's a lot of work to be done, a lot to figure out. I don't have all the answers yet, but that would be certainly an early assessment based on my own experience of coming to La Grande that I think is going to need some more brain power put to it, and certainly more people more intelligent than me to be a part of it.
Well, and that, I mean, you're vocalizing the experience that, I mean, I know of physicians that have moved to La Grande and only stayed a couple of years because they never could find a suitable place to live.
Yep.
Yeah, and
that saddens me to a degree, because I think, one of the things, I should be careful the terms that I use. What I can say is definitely within the community, I've learned that there are ways that people view certain areas of the city, and unfortunately, when people tend towards a nicer area, that doesn't necessarily, even though we would call it a visually nicer
Not
area.
Bill.
Yeah, I wasn't going to use the term.
I will.
But that's, as much as I can understand why it's that way, but who's wrong for wanting better for themselves?
nobody.
So what I would argue is that at least all the people that I've met so far that live in that area are incredibly good people, incredibly nice people that I've not. But maybe I'd end up being labeled into being one of the snobs.
Yeah.
But the fact that I see them as such good. But I honestly, I haven't met anybody in La Grande yet that came across poorly to me. Everybody seems like they genuinely care. I had the opportunity to I was invited to meet with a group of, they call themselves a coffee club, last week, and it was some people of the community that have been longtime members of the community that had thoughts and opinions and concerns in regards to the community. But they were all well articulate, kind, and willing to spend time talking about what they saw as concerns while not tearing at the flesh of the city. And so the fact that they were willing to engage me and have that kind of conversation and bring the information, they even brought, I showed up to the meeting thinking we were just going to have coffee and meet some people, and they had an agenda and they slid it right in front of me and said, hey, this is one of the things we plan on talking to you about today. But I can tell you that I felt a little blindsided that's how it turned, while at the same time I was incredibly impressed with the care that they were bringing to the conversation and the opportunity to arm me with a perspective that absolutely, I left that meeting, came back and had conversations with some of my senior staff that gave me the senior staff perspective of some of the problem sets. And some of them we were able to immediately address, which at some point in time I'll be able to go back to them and say, hey, these are the concerns you brought to me, and this was the quick win that I got in at least some of the areas that I feel like is an opportunity for me to build trust with the community, to let them see that I'm listening and that I'm actually going to do something with the information that they provide me. And even if it ends up not being what they want me to do, I'm going to at least have the opportunity to explain to them why I didn't.
Yeah.
And then, and I feel like that, at least in some of the groups that I've spoke with so far, one of the underlying themes that's there is our entire organization communicates regularly the desire to be transparent and to be open and honest in regards to all the things that we're doing. And I feel like the organization, especially under Robert, has worked hard to be that organization. While at the same time, there's still perceptions that it's not.
Yeah.
And so I'm anxious to be able to figure out how to meet people where they are, so that they can have the opportunity to be able to see that disagreement doesn't mean a lack of transparency. And so, but I also don't get to vote on people's perspectives. So I just have the opportunity to influence it.
Yeah,
So.
that's awesome. I mean, that's well stated. And I think that, I mean, I've been involved with the city and different organizations for a long time. And I've never seen a lack of unwillingness to be transparent. I mean, all of the information, any citizen that's out there, if you're out there and you're wondering what's going on, all of that information is gettable. It's gettable, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's at the county or if it's, and you want to talk with Shelley Burgess or you want to talk with you as the city manager. All of that information is gettable. It's complex, though.
Yes.
And there are times that, when you look at the budgets of, I mean, it's complex, and in that complexity, sometimes people go like, oh well, it's only complex this way. You're trying to hide something, and there's impropriety in there, and this is why, and but that's why there are professional auditors every year, required by the state. Or maybe it's every 5 years. I can't remember. But anyhow.
No, you're 100% right. And I'm actually glad you brought that up. That was one of the subjects of concern that was brought up in that coffee house conversation I was telling you about. And what I can tell you is, when I went back and checked into it, I can say that the audits of old were definitely not as invasive as they are currently. And so what I can say is part of the problem, I think, is people have long memories. And the part that's negative is the thing that they remember most. And so what I would ask is definitely utilize those long memories as an opportunity to be critical of the now. But don't be so critical that you're unwilling to allow the potential or the possibility that it's not the same. And then if you can look through that lens in your analysis of it, I think there's going to be prime opportunity to be able to see that there's goodness that's occurring. I can tell you that our staff is incredible. Our finance department is amazing. They're small, but they're mighty. And they're incredibly qualified, incredibly capable, and doing a very good job as far as I'm concerned. Granted, 4 weeks-ish into the seat, but they're and like you said, all the information is accessible, and so I think I have the task. I mean, you make a good point. It is complex. I have the task of being able to figure out how to communicate it as simplistically as possible without losing the value of the content, to help make it more make it easier and understandable and relatable for the people of the community.
Basically like a translator.
Yeah, no, it's a good, and that's exactly probably the best way to say it. without making people feel like I'm talking down to them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because that
Yeah.
that can happen really easily.
Yeah, I can have the best intentions, and I come across like I'm
Snooty.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's because if you have a knowledge of something, there's a fine line you have to walk without making somebody feel like, oh, I'm,
Yep.
like I'm the.
Yep. I genuinely want to meet people where they are, but it's when you have 50 people, you're going to have 50 different perspectives.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be hard, but hopefully I'm going to get to the bulk of them.
Well, and I think that generally, whenever somebody, I mean, let's say that I'm investigating something or something just smells, that's the way I describe it. It's like, this doesn't smell exactly right, and so then I'm there's something inside of me that is twisted up, and I'm seeking information. And in this particular case, the city, the city is accountable to its citizens. They're accountable, and in some manner or not, they need to help that person get the information. Well, the but is this, is that, but I have to be able to listen at the same time. And that is hard. If I'm angry or I'm pissed off or I think that something is wrong, what's not going on, it's hard to listen. Well, I can't understand a complex system if I'm not listening. Right. I still have to, so even though I'm the one, I'm seeking after information, whatever it might be, I still have to be teachable. I still have to be learning. Yep. And if that is, so that if somebody sits down and explains it, and we're going through the books, and this budget is connected to this, and this is where these funds are, and if at some point I stop listening, then I'm not going to understand. And I'm not going to get to the bottom of it.
100% agree. And I would add to that, listen with curiosity.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're listening with a predetermined outcome,
right.
Well, then we're Charlie Brown.
Going through the motions.
There's
no point in even doing it.
Yeah. And I do have to say this, and that is that I've seen systems where, and I always appreciate that, when you're looking at a complex system and you have somebody comes in and they ask a question, and you can tell that they're upset. You can tell that but they're not asking the right question to get the information they need. Okay. I've seen some people that they will answer the question that person is asking, knowing that it's not going to give them the right answer. Whereas a person who genuinely has a heart will say, I think the question that you're really asking is this. And because there's so many, it's not unlike the military, and like if you've renamed every organization and you say, well, what's going on but you don't use the right term, then you can't really get the right answer. It's like doing a Google search, it's like sometimes you'll put in, cabinet with wheels on it, and you'll get everything. And so finally you find something that looks like what you want, and you can finally get to the right place. Well, a person who really has integrity will help that person genuinely get to the information that they need.
Right. Agreed.
And
all in the constraint of time.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So so I guess have you made friends with other city managers, or have you? What is your experience? That sounded like you were on your way to school for the first day. Are you going to make friends? But I know that there's. What are you hoping to do to help Grande do something different than what it has in the past? And
that's a good question, and I'll certainly answer it. I think what might sound a little ambiguous.
Yeah.
But I'll explain why it might sound a little ambiguous first.
Okay.
I need to understand what Grande is willing and wanting to do. I don't think that there's a lack of big ideas of what we can do to help grow for lack of a better term, the economy of Grande and really the region. But I've heard examples provided of the past of efforts that the city has put in to try and attract business to our area that has resulted in them being in another jurisdiction's or another city's area of benefit. And so the concern has been articulated that, well, what if we put all this time and energy in and they end up going to a neighboring area versus here? I'll use Costco as an example. I personally would say that I see Costco as being a huge gravitational pull that could be incredibly beneficial to this area. At the same time, we would have real problems trying to be able to give Costco what it would need in order to be able to place it within our geographic boundaries, let alone if we were to be able to convince them that it was the right place to put them. Some of the concerns here is let's, at least that I've heard on similar topics, is that we shouldn't put our time or energy into something like a big fish like that, that we should actually just focus in on little ones, which arguably have a lot of risk associated with them too, just different. Mm-hmm. They may be short-term attainable, but what has long-term life that might be beneficial to our area? So what I can say is that my early assessment would be that we need to not, as much as I want us to be able to realize all the benefit of any efforts that we do right within our own city, I think we might need to be okay with some of the collateral benefits that we would get as a result of it, even if it doesn't. We go into it with the intent of bringing it to Grande and having it in the city of Grande, while at the same time recognizing that even if we lose out and it ends up being outside of our actual city limits, well, those are some headaches that we won't be adopting, but there will be something like Costco. I can't help speaking for having come from Walla Walla. You have to drive quite a ways to go to a Costco there. Mm-hmm. And so it's not uncommon for people to go and stay overnight in the Tri-Cities area. It's not really a requirement, but I can say I've done it.
Well, it happens.
And
yeah.
Exactly. So if I feel like something like that, wherever it's placed, is going to offer collateral opportunities for us to be able to grow. I will say there's also an emerging, I don't know if the, maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but if the school district has announced this yet, so I apologize, Mr. Mendoza, if
they've already announced
about the
volleyball.
I'm having the state.
It's out.
Okay, so that's an opportunity for us to have some, in a defined period of time, some huge impacts to our economy. And so at some point in time, we need to have some conversations as a community about how we take advantage of that opportunity while not gouging the people that are coming here just because we're trying to seize the moment. Because we have multi-year opportunities for them to come here. But if we make it so it's not attractive for them to come back, well, then why would they come back?
Right.
So we have to spend some time as a community talking about it and making sure that we're setting ourselves up for not just this year's opportunity for success, but how do we amplify it and improve upon it and maybe grow it? Like, how do we get other events? If we make it so wonderfully attractive for people to come here for those events, then why not bring more events?
Yeah. Good.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
I apologize, I talked too much.
No, you did great, and you have expressed that you want to come back on a regular basis, and we'd love to have you come back. So we'll get you on the calendar, and no, glad that you're here. I appreciate your fresh eyes, and that's always, when you come into a community for the first time, there are things that you notice that, and they're good and bad, but there are things that you notice as a first-timer that are super valuable to hang on to, And so appreciate you being here.
I very much appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah, appreciate you being willing to be on the show, and we'll have you back again soon.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. You want to get us out of here?
Let's do it. On this day, September 9th, 1753, the first steam engine arrives in North American colonies. 1776, Congress officially renames the country as the United States of America from the United Colonies. 1956, Elvis Presley's first appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show. 1971 was the Attica riots. 1,000 convicts seized the Attica Correctional Facility in New York. 2015, Apple unveils the iPad Pro and the iPhone 6 in San Francisco. 2019, scientists reveal evidence that humans' earliest milk consumption 6,000 years ago from the dental plaque of prehistoric farmers. 2024, the world's first whole eye and face transplant is declared successful for a 47-year-old Arkansas man more than a year after the operation. That's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
A face and eye transplant? Oh, what? Somebody else's face and somebody else's eyes. The number one movie on this day in 1985, Back to the Future. Quote of the day comes from His Airness, Michael Jordan. Never say never, because limits, like fears, are often just illusions. One more time. Never say never, because limits, like fears, are often just illusions.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Yep.
And, hey, thank you for being here.
Yep. We'll be back on Thursday.
Yep. We'll see you soon.